Hello guys, welcome to Code Bytes, where we give you bite-sized pieces of code the size of bytes. So in today's lesson, we're going to be talking about functions. Now, functions in Python, or coding in general, exist for basically just simplifying the code. Now, when it comes to writing code, a lot of the time you're going to be able to write, you're going to write a bunch of this stuff a lot of the time. A lot of the time you can solve it with loops, but sometimes that's not really possible. The best way to solve that is with a function. So not only that, but a function also works when you want to have the same code, but just change like one variable. So let's take an example of this function. So the start of function, you write define. So or def, D-E-F, and you write the name of the function. So this is like in the for loop, the first variable. You can write it at anything because it makes it so it's customizable and it's easy to call it and you know what you're doing. So in this case, we have adding, and then we have parentheses and then num. In parentheses, you're gonna put any number of variables you're gonna use, like num or letter. If you have multiple variables you're gonna use below in the function, that's what you put it there. And then you put colon, of course, to make sure everything's indented within this function. So what happens below the function? Everything you write, you can just write like regular code, and it's gonna run when you call the function. So the reason we use a variable is so when we call the function, we can put in the number or whatever we're gonna use, and it's gonna replace that. So an example of how we do this is we're gonna call the function adding in parentheses. Now instead of number, we put an actual number. This replaces the variable. And if we had like letter, second one, then we put like this, comma, and then wherever you want it to be. So let's take a run now what's actually happening. So adding 2. So now everything that's num is replaced by 2. So 2 plus equals 1, that's 3, print num. So it should print 3. So instead of having to write print like x or print whatever it is, you can just write the function one time and then you can just call the function multiple times. So and when you do call the function, you don't add the colon. So this is just a quick way to like repeat stuff over and over again. Or when you have more complex stuff, when you have more complex stuff, you might want to use a function just so you can copy a piece of code and then you can change the variables up. So another thing with variables is the return feature. So returning returns a variable. So everything that happens within the function stays within the function. So any variables are still the variables they are. So let's say we run the function adding num, let's make it 5, and let's say we print num. What happens here? Nothing, because so num is not defined, it's only defined within the function. So what we can do here is with the return, what return does, it returns the variable num, which is in this case now 6. And the way we put it back into the actual code is we just make a variable and we make it equal to the function. So now it returns 6, so we print 6. So if we didn't have the return feature, x is equal to nothing, because this doesn't return any sort of number. Returning this, it just returns number. And you can also use the return to basically just stop the function too at a certain point. So if you're having like if statements, and if you want to check if something happens, you just want to end the code afterwards, you can just put return and it just stops the function. So, and this works with multiple variables too. So when we're with letter, you would return letter, and you would do x and then y, and then y would be equal to letter. But in this case, you want to do letter. So that's basically the rundown of functions. They're very useful to simplify your code and make it easy to read. So thank you guys for watching.